What's going on, people? It's been a little while since I've done a video. Obviously we had the international break, and yeah, just no league football, so I've not really had any content to bring you. But back today with Premier League predictions for this coming weekend, and let's get straight into it. So I've picked the majority of the games. I've left a couple out, but the majority are there. So first up, we got Watford versus Liverpool. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Liverpool at Watford, but newly promoted. They're doing okay so far, but struggling a little bit already. And Liverpool are just looking like they're flying away with it already. So Liverpool, I think, should get the 3 points pretty easily here. And I'm going to go 3-1. Next up, we've got Aston Villa versus Wolves. I still don't think Villa have hit full stride yet. They are improving, and Wolves are doing a little bit better than I thought they would. They started off slowly and struggling to score goals, but they're looking like they're starting to get it together a bit now. So I'm going to go for a draw, though, and I will go for a 1-1. Next up, Leicester versus Manchester United. I'm very nervous about this game as a United fan. Varane's going to be definitely out. Maguire may play, but he might be missing too. And Fred's not available because he's been playing for Brazil. I'm not fussed about Fred, to be honest. You know my thoughts on him. But Maguire and Varane, if they're both missing, is a problem. But even though if Varane's missing, which he will be, it means Maguire will play with Lindelof again. And we know that doesn't work the majority of the time. So, and Leicester are not one of them teams to play about with. So for me, I've actually gone for a Leicester win in this one for 2-1. I think it could be an embarrassing afternoon for us. I do think we're going to struggle. So I'd be delighted with a draw or a win against them, especially being away as well. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Leicester, though. Next up, Southampton versus Leeds. I think this could be one of the games of the weekend that goes under the radar a little bit. Both teams, I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Southampton obviously lost quite a few players. And Leeds are struggling a lot more, I think, than they were last year, and slower out the gates as well. So both teams in need of points, like, quite badly, I think, just to give them that confidence to change it around. I know it's still early in the season, but I feel like they both need that push a bit more than other teams at the moment. But I'm going to go for a home win for Southampton, and a narrow home win and a 1-0. Next up, Brentford versus Chelsea. Brentford, one of my favourite teams to watch. I'm continuing to prove people wrong. I predicted, obviously, that they would stay up, and they were my dark horse, and they're definitely doing that right now. But there's a ton of games to go yet, and I think squad depth is going to be interesting with them when they start picking up injuries later on in the season. How are they going to cope with that? I still think that they will stay up even if that happens. I just think that it's a hard place to go to in that stadium. It's very close to the pitch. It's very sort of tight knit, and there's a lot of atmosphere created in that ground. It's very old school, and I think that they're going to give a lot of teams problems. Saying that, I do think that they will lose this one. Obviously, Chelsea, one of the best teams in the league for me outside of Liverpool. I think it's going to be between Liverpool and Chelsea, even over City this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford get a draw, or they could even nick it. Do you know what I mean? How they're playing with late goals and stuff. But I'm going to go with a Chelsea win, and I'm going to go 2-1. Next up, Everton versus West Ham. I think this might even be game of the weekend. There's a few in here this week that I think could be. But I think the way they're both playing could be an exciting game. And I think I'll personally go with this one, I think, for game of the weekend. Everton versus West Ham. I like to watch both of these teams. Townsend doing very well for Everton recently, getting a lot of goals for them. And West Ham doing very well in the Europa League, and not too bad in the league. They've improved vastly over the last few seasons. So this one could go anyway, really could. And there's not a lot between the two sides, I don't think. I think West Ham are the better team overall, but it's being at Everton, like, that might even the odds out a bit. I'm going to go with a draw, and I'm going to go 2-2. Newcastle versus Tottenham on Sunday. This is the later kickoff after the Everton-West Ham game on Sunday. I'm going to go for the upset in this one for Newcastle to win. I'm going to go 2-1. St. Maximum's on fire for them at the moment. Almiron stepping in with a few important goals here and there. Obviously, they got all the takeover stuff that's happened for them. Now, they could start winning titles in a few years and they could be contending with the other top teams. It's not good for the likes of United, obviously. But I would prefer a Newcastle receive this money that they have than above other teams. So a lot of people are like not happy about it and saying football's gone, and it's not what it used to be. There is too much money involved, but I still would rather Newcastle get that sort of money than a lot of other teams. So I'm going to go for an upset in this one for Newcastle to get the win. I think Tottenham are struggling. I like Nuno, the manager, but I think he is struggling there. And I think the players I think it's a mentality thing with them. They've got ability, but most weeks they don't show up or to perform to the at least minimum level you expect them to with the names they've got. And all the stuff happening with Kane hasn't helped at all. So I think they've got a lot of problems in that club, Tottenham. So I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Newcastle. And then lastly this week, guys, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Arsenal are improving slightly, but they're still very inconsistent. But I do think that they're getting there slowly. I don't think they're as bad as they have been for a number of years, but that inconsistency problem is still lingering. But they're starting to get a few more results where previously they wouldn't have hung on to grab a point or a win here and there. So I do think they're getting there. It's just taken a while. Palace starting to look good now. I think the first few weeks, Vieira taking over, I was expecting them to play from the get-go like they have been in the last few weeks, which has been a vast improvement. And I think that they're looking good now, Palace. I like in the way they play. They play more exciting football than they did before Vieira got there. I like that Gallagher a lot. I think that once they just play more with each other, they're going to get more used to each other, and that hopefully will continue, because I like Palace as a club. I just always like them to do reasonably well, because it's a team that's always been there since I've been growing up watching football, and they've been going through a lot of struggles. So, and I like Vieira, even though he was a Manchester United rival, I do like him, and I want him to do well there, and I think that they are improving. So I'm going to go with an away win for Palace in this one, another upset maybe, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Palace. That's it for this week's predictions, guys. Hope you enjoyed the games of the weekend. I'm going to be going and doing my match reporting on Saturday. So for those of you that aren't aware, I do have a website now. If you type in coxjournalism.com, it will come up with my website and you can see a lot of my work there. So go and support that. See you guys soon.